We had amazing sex this weekend, and I suspect, no I know, it had something to do with the book Kate was reading between sessions. Pietro Aretino's dialogues, written during the Renaissance in Venice. The book talks about the lives of whores, nuns and wives, so I thought I would dedicate a talk to it. Maybe you can give the book to a woman.
Well, I think that is very good to read because it is so without shame when it talks about the sexuality of people and how it works, and especially the sexuality of women. Our society is so invested in this monogamy, and because it's such a feminized society, women don't want this insult of being cheated on by their husbands. And women are so good at lying, at pretending that they are satisfied, that they are okay with it, as long as they get enough power in return for it. They can pent it all up much easier than men. So we live up in this pent-up state, everyone, all these people. So it's very liberating to read about this society in which it's reversed, in which you have the women who are getting their kicks and their sex and their joys elsewhere because they are married off to 60-year-old men when they are beautiful young 16-year-old women. And like the vices of women talked about freely. It's good.
And it turns you on?
It turns me on, but it also makes me see my own lying, like the lies, and I can touch them without feeling ashamed of them.
And what is the lie?
The lie is that I can do without, that I can live in this perfect heaven with you. And that I feel as much lust for you as I did at the very beginning. And that anytime we have sex, I bring... But no, I have to work my imagination for it. It is an unnatural... I'm going against my instincts to a degree. But it's what I choose. And then it becomes fun again, because then I can make fun of myself again. I am not this sort of saint woman who can bear it all on her shoulders or something. It is, if I can think of myself as a whore with you much more easily if I think of myself as a whore in general. Just a woman who has to be whipped and smacked around in order for you to get done what you want her to do. And of course, people, this is a metaphor. And it has, yeah.
So how did that sort of become part of the sex we had this weekend? This being smacked around or becoming a whore?
I don't know, I just had this feeling of like Renaissance lewdness over me. Where you have the beautiful young women and the ugly old women, and they're all talking to each other about sex, and the old women are no more, and it just makes sense. Yeah, a lewd smile, like, it's great. Where sex is not about this transgression of, going beyond the chastity girdle. But it's about this cornucopia of penetration and orifices and the stimulation of lust. The orgy. And where sex is also not about so not the act of going beyond the chastity girdle, the moment that one is soiled, or how do you call it? But it is about the movement and the rhythm, and the wetness and the lewd movements that you can make with your hips and so on, and the fun with that, and that your head is on top of your body, but it's in the rhythm of the movement. And also that it is a gift for your husband to do it, and that this is fun. Yeah, there's also this description of a gangbang in this whore dialogues, where he says like there's 30 men, and at the point where she's had 20 of them, she's this cat that is moaning and screeching alternately between pain and pleasure. So, of course, the repetition, the sheer muchness of it turns you into an animal. And he describes her vagina as a place where countless slugs without houses live. And then, like, number 21 decides that maybe he wants to take her asshole now because the vagina is kind of spent.
A functioning society.
I read the whore dialogues of Aretino. He describes the lives of nuns, wives, and whores. And he describes a functioning society because everybody is always needing something from someone else.
Yeah.
So the masters need the slaves to bring the food from the land. The women needs the slaves to have sex with. The master needs the 16-year-old beautiful girl to brag with, to prance with, to feel young. And so everything clasps in each other in this sort of deeply unholy orgy of people. Mm-hmm. That's a society. And that's what we don't have anymore. This is the Christianity we don't have anymore. Atomization. There's something wrong with modernity.
Kate is performative here. She adopts the voice of people who say we need something to become whole again as a society, and to achieve that we need a purpose, a horizon toward which we move together, one that binds us morally, ethically, and practically. In Christianity this was heaven, and capitalism or technology promised something similar but different, eternal life here on earth, or transhumanism going beyond the limitations of our bodies.
Part of this orgy, this coming together, is of course also death. People need things because otherwise they die. And it's also good that at the end of it people do die, because then other people, can live and you can mourn that. And there's a lot, it's like this fecundity of life and death. Whereas immortality is a negation of that, because then you solve all those problems that make people need one another. That's the line of sort of progression that it entails.
Yeah, so in that sense, singularity and immortality have this similar disrupting quality.
Yeah, because to place heaven in another world relieves the mortals of having to create heaven on earth. I mean, that's the affirmative function of Christianity.
The gay science, non-negating quality of Christianity.
Yeah. But the type of Christianity that you see erupting from our society, like when it is this negating Christianity, they all fall for the negating side of Christianity because it puts them in those sort of silos. They're already atomized, but then they can sit in this power trip within this negating Christianity, and it's the projection of it. It's not this heavy bearing cross and then the life teeming beneath it, in a way.
In 1545, Aretino, author of the Whore Dialogues, sent Michelangelo a moral indignant letter attacking the nudity in the Last Judgment. The letter was tactical. He understood shame and reputation, and he knew Michelangelo was personally troubled by sin and unworthiness. Aretino himself was not burdened by these feelings at all, by the way. This was Aretino's trait. As one of the first art critics, he used psychological insight as pressure, leverage, and blackmail. He sought influence over Michelangelo, as he had with Titian. From this grew the later myth that the martyr Saint Bartholomew, who in the painting is holding his own flayed skin, is a portrait of Aretino, and that the flayed skin is a self-portrait of Michelangelo.
Yeah, and that is why, in a way, you long for this artwork, this Michelangelo who makes the Sistine Chapel, in which you have all the different types of society and what they do with Christianity, their hypocrisy, their amazing vanities, and all of it